I don't think you understand what your potential is until you develop a worldview. Your viewpoint is determined by your perspective, which is the direct result of, how often you get a chance to travel. So my thought was, let's put ourselves in a position where we give people an opportunity to develop a worldview, and at the same point in time, we give back to a community. There are a lot of communities looking for clinics and looking for clean water, and looking for schools. We know how to do that. So if we can link our expertise with the need in the community that's, guess what, out of country, we can accomplish a lot for that local community, and we can accomplish a lot for our people.
We were really interested in trying to find a project that either had an educational or a healthcare flair to it.
Chris Hallapi walks into my office and he says, John, he says, in 2019, we took a group of people to Bolivia and did a water project there to bring clean drinking water to a community of folks in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. So we did that in 2019. And then COVID hit and we had, that whole crazy time. And now here we are in 2021, we want to resurrect that again and do that again. And I know that missions is something you're interested in and passionate about, and I guess I'd like to ask you if you'd head that up. And I thought about it for exactly 1/2 of a second and said, I can do that, Chris.
Long story short, John did his due diligence, crushed it, found a good in-country partner, and decided, hey, we're going to have an education-based trip this time and build a couple apartments out in the bush that will enable this entity to hire 2 more teachers to expand their school to 2 more grades, right? So now we're going to be able to educate more children.
John contacted me and we started this discussion about what they could possibly do. So Shook's interest in coming and helping us with the project was huge. And it just somehow came at a perfect time where we needed to build additional teacher accommodations at our school. And we identified exactly what the materials would need. Here we did a lot of the pre-planning that was needed so that we could best utilize the team when they landed on the ground. SAM Ministries stands for Strategic Action Mission, and so Strategic Action Mission simply reflects our mission statement, which is to love God and love people, so they have a chance to love God and love people. Our commitment was to get into Mozambique and to establish a base of operations in the country that will enable us to address the broad range of human need that existed in this country. We really wanted to see the development of an entity that would be able to sustain itself in the long term, not only reliant on outside resources.
We land at the airstrip and put the plane away in a nice hangar and get in a decent truck and drive to some living accommodations that, like, well, this isn't so bad. And then we get in that nice truck again and we leave the gate. And that's kind of when it hits you, seeing the bancas and seeing the mud huts, and then driving through the village and the truck being barely able to pass on the road. It winds with no particular direction you seem to be going. And then all of a sudden you open up into a bit of a clearing, and there's a church built out of mud.
You know, one thing I really felt in there, inside that church, as they're singing and they're dancing, is the entire playing field was leveled in terms of, you know, we're all just people on this planet. You know, We come from a different place than they do. We have different traditions and customs than they do. We have a lot more material things than they do. But it, you know, that you throw all that out the window when you walk into that church that's made of mud and a thatched roof, and we're all there, you know, under God together.
Because our school is located in a very rural setting here in Mozambique, it's about 15 kilometers off a major highway, which is in a very remote setting. And obviously, there are no places for teachers to live there. And it's hard enough, even with accommodations, to attract good quality teachers because they're far away from the town, they're far away from food supplies, you name it, you know. So we've tried to do the best we can with the resources we have to provide a setting in which they can thrive and provide a solid education to our kids.
Yeah, on Sunday afternoon we got to go visit the construction site and get our eyes on the site, see what we'd be working on for the coming week. And my initial reaction was, holy cow, this is a long way away from nowhere. Like I knew it wasn't right at the mission. I thought once we turned on that dirt road, you know, it'd be 5 minutes down the road. I mean, it was like 20 minutes down that dirt road. And when I say road, that's generous. It's a path through nothingness is what it is that they call a road.
De quantidade. Dentro de expressões de quantidade, nós vamos encontrar muito e pouco. Estamos em noção de quantidade. Aqui temos muito e aqui temos muito pouco. Muito pouco. Muito.
It's not about the building, it's about the person that's living there that's going to impact the children and do a good job for the children, training them well, teaching them well, impacting them well, so that they can have better future. So by building the schools and houses for the teachers, we are building people's life as well.
The impact it has for people from the outside to come is tremendous. I mean, we can't even imagine how much impact it has in their lives. From all these children, you know, seeing that there is like a huge team coming of 14 people or 12 people. They give everything, you know, they don't just sit in the shade, they are like in the sun, sweating, you know, they have a red head. I mean, suffering really, you know, drinking water all the time, and they don't sit around. To see that, that's a huge impact. We think maybe, oh, these little kids, he will probably forget that in a week, you know, or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but that's not true. This is this is really in their heart. They will never, never, ever forget that. And the impact that has in their lives is tremendous.
You know, our heart for teams that come here is that, you know, they will make a difference. They are making a difference. But that as they leave, that they take a piece of Africa, that they take the heart of what we're doing here and the people that we're working with, and that they, you know, that they share.
There is so much opportunity to make a difference in our world. And I think, to me, make what Shook is doing really, really powerful. Because it's not about just achieving the project at the end of the day. It's about what it does in the individual who comes here and encounters the developing world, gets a different perspective on how blessed their lives are and how much we have in the developed world, and how little it takes to make such a big difference here. And so that experience profoundly changes an individual. And that says nothing about the impact it makes personally to those that they have come to serve. Mozambicans, as we've told the Shook team, value visitors. When a visitor comes, it says you're important. We always say that we don't work for the first salary, we work for the second salary. And the second salary is the reason why. And the reason is we're making a difference.